Men of Reddit, what's the most creepiest thing a woman has ever done to you? I had an ex-girlfriend stalk me for 5 years. I had a restraining order against her that included my grandparents, she had been bothering them, and my parents, but I didn't think to include my sister because she lived in a different city. This woman stalked my sister and ended up approaching her at a music festival. She was wearing, this is so insane, one of those hats that has fake dreadlocks attached to it, and she was trying to pretend to be a stranger and get information from my sister. Now, keep in mind 1, she was white as, 2, that was the only thing she did to disguise herself, and 3, my sister knew her already. It would be hilarious if not for the years of harassment and inconvenience she caused me. Every time I would move, she would send me something in the mail to let me know she had my address. One time it was a box with a flannel shirt, a half-empty bottle of cologne, a broken toy axe, a bundle of pubic hair, and an 11-page letter written in crayon. She was crazy. Probably not as exciting as most here, but still super weird. I was staying at my friend's house, sleeping in his guest room. Friend is at work, his girlfriend is at home. One thing about this room is that it has a very heavy door that has to be held open by something super heavy or else it slams shut. Well, I sleep with the door closed. I wake up in the morning and as I do every morning, I laid there for a bit longer before actually getting out of bed. Well, this time all of a sudden I see the door open. The light is still off, but the hallway light being on means I can see if someone's standing in the doorway. I have my eyes kind of open and I can see that she's just standing there in the doorway, staring at me. I didn't move. I wanted to see WTF would happen because this was thoroughly freaking me out. She just stood there. For at least 10 minutes. Didn't look away, didn't walk around the room. I was laying at a weird angle where I could see her perfectly, she could see me, but she couldn't see that my eyes were half open. I thought she may have been in there to grab something because there's a bunch of stuff in the closet, clothes, and such. Nope. 10 minutes I waited for her to do something or to walk out. Finally I flinched and feigned waking up and I heard her run out and the door slam. I got up, went into the kitchen and she was as bubbly as could be, acting like nothing happened. Acting like she didn't just spend 10 minutes watching me sleep. Edit in answer to your lovely replies. U/midnight math, yes, she very well may be a cat. I've had terrible bouts of sleep paralysis in my life. It wasn't that. I was awake and fully capable of moving. She wasn't sleepwalking. It was well into the morning and she was wide awake starting her day. Yes, I have long suspected she's had a little crush on me, but JFC watching me sleep. For 10 minutes? Sometimes it's the ones you'd least expect. Bringing it up to either of them is harder than it seems, especially when it's impossible to prove my case 100%. I would love to know what was going on in her head for those 10 minutes. I think as a group effort, good job guys, we've narrowed it down to either thinking about killing me, or standing there with her hand in her pants. Your guess is as good as mine. Dated this girl who I later found out to be literally a compulsive liar and also into witchcraft. After not being able to deal with her insanity anymore, I broke things off. She would wait outside my door for God knows how long until I came home and say she left something at my house. This happened a lot. One day I was going to add a new email account to my phone and realized that her email account was still saved on my phone. I shouldn't have checked it, but she was actively stalking me and I needed to know what I was up against. There were tons of emails to some witchcraft lady she found online somehow, all about me. She was paying this internet witch like hundreds of dollars an hour for what I would consider witch consulting. It was all about me. How to cast spells to get me back, how to enchant me, how to curse my new GF, all kinds of crazy shit. She was using this lady as like a weird therapist almost, asking her a bunch of relationship questions and shit too. This went on for months. The witch lady was getting a little annoyed with her, I could feel, although she couldn't complain that much because she was draining her for literally thousands of dollars. She told the witch that some point I told her she needs to seek professional help. The witch actually told her that might not be a bad idea LMAO. She ended up moving into the house of a mutual friend, this girl from school, that was literally one building away from mine. My friend told me that she was always burning weird spices and candles. It was at the direction of the witch actually. It was all creepy AF and eventually she cut my brakes. I fell asleep sitting next to one of my friends on the way home from a school field trip in 12th grade. I woke up to her using my hand to play with herself. As I began to regain consciousness, she threw my hand at me and made a huge scene about it. I never talked to her about it. It bothers me to this day. Definitely top 3. I am so pissed off about those kind of things. Like, if the situation was reverse and it was a guy using a girl's hand to beat his meat, it'd have been a whole scandal, but here since she's a girl she can get away with this. I want to break knees. I hope you'll get better, bro. Edit, I am a girl. I didn't say it's easier for us. I say that we have way less chances to be seen as or abusers because. And that's not normal. It's honestly been, Jesus. 2020 makes it 17 years ago. Christ, I'm old. But yeah, I never brought it up to her because she initially tried to make me out as some kind of bad guy or as a joke, I guess. She didn't push it past the actual bus ride though. I had a friend of ours ask us about it a few years later. She was all like, I can't believe you pulled that shit on back in 12th grade. I explained my side and moved on. But yeah, it's the principle of how things are perceived as being a predominantly male problem. I mean, we had a weird friendship as it was. She dated one of my best friends and we were always all together. But whatever. We've both grown to have fulfilling good lives, I suppose. It is what it is. I don't hold a grudge. Girl I had seen for 2 dates had her best friend SMS me anonymously claiming we met in a bar the night before and offering to come over to my place. I rarely went to bars as I worked night shift at the time, so I knew I hadn't met anyone at a bar. Eventually, after probing and pushing, I got the girl to confess. She said she was just testing to make sure I was trustworthy. Didn't see her again. I had some female friends who've done that. I'm a woman too. I was always like, really girl? You are that insecure? Stop doing this creepy BS. But the saddest part of this, I mean for them, this isn't an excuse at all, is that they were doing this in fear of getting cheated on or manipulated again by jerks. And they happened to turn into the same kind of jerks. Childish. Met a girl at a bar and we ended up back at her place. We had and fell asleep. She seemed normal all night, and I saw no red flags at all. I definitely would have dated her again, until she went crazy. I woke up around 5 a.m. and started getting dressed to leave. I had to get home and get ready for work. She woke up while I was dressing and totally freaked out. She was screaming, angrily, "You can't leave." I explained I needed to go to work, and that I'd call her later. She was having none of that. Then she attacked. I literally had to physically fight my way out of her apartment, with a few scratches on my arm for souvenirs. I have no idea what her deal was, and I never went back to the bar I met her in. Weird, I had a similar experience when I was younger that your story made me rethink. I lived in a neighborhood with middle-class housing. I had a friend whose parents were divorced, so his mother lived right down the street from me, and when he wasn't with his father in Hawaii he was here. So I was young, like 10 to 11 years old. My friend was with his father at the time, so he was not there. I was walking home, and when I was walking past his house his mother was outside sitting in front of her garage smoking a cigarette. I said hi as I kept walking and she called me over. It was odd since we never really spoke other than standard pleasantries. I was respectful just like you were. She had me sit on her lap while she talked, and she for whatever reason kissed my cheek multiple times with her arms around me. I know sounds hentai AF, but I can assure you this happened. I can't for the life of me remember what she was saying since I was a kid that was only focused on getting home. She had red lipstick on, which was on my skin, of course, lol. Moving along, after a while she let me go and I walked home where my mom prepared me a bath. She asked me about the lipstick and I told her what happened. She didn't react much, but thinking in hindsight she may have freaked out. Nothing happened after that, and I was a very optimistic child who didn't think much of it. Now I am not certain that she did that as a thing. I think it is that she was lonely without her son, my friend. She lived alone and I don't recall her having visitors. Just thinking, as a parent in 2020, having your 10-year-old son come home with lipstick on his cheek would be a huge yikes, lol.